Jonathan.
Okay, let's get started. All right, my name is Jonathan Hawley, and I'm with Educational Message Services and Prevention Pays Text. And we are providing this webinar, or I'm sorry, this GoToMeeting session to follow up with a project that we've been working on for quite some time now, a couple months. This project is a text message-based project to address the need for support services related to the issue of human trafficking. The project is designed to be an automated experience. Of course, there's live help, and there's ways to get live help. That's always a text away. But in the main, when you text in, you're going to get an automated response letting you know that there's a couple different ways. There's a few different paths that you can choose from. You can get general information about human trafficking. You can get information about human trafficking if you're concerned about somebody or a loved one or somebody in your care or somebody you know or somebody you suspect. Or you can get support for yourself. And each one of those paths has different paths associated to it. And we've laid those paths out in a document. And that document is called just one moment, please. The document is called not taxonomy terms, nope. Text flow, human trafficking. And it's a draft document. It's a Word document. If you haven't received it, then you can receive it. You can request it from us by just simply sending an email to support@preventionpaystext.com, or you can request a copy of it from the United Way, Atlanta 211, and you can reach out to any of the individuals there, preferably reach out to Marioli, as she's the lead on this project, Marioli Botero. Marioli, would you mind just explaining your part in this, your role in this as the 211 agency, and how you guys see your role in the future as we roll this out?
Sure. And I just want to first say thank you to everybody that has joined the meeting. And so the way that 211 is going to be handling this would be, once the project is put together and is tested and it's working, then when people start texting for this service, it would be, like Jonathan said, it would be an automated service. But at any point during the conversation, they could go and switch over to a live person, which would be one of our community connection specialists, and they'll be able to respond to the people and talk with them and guide them through anything that, any kind of need that they may have, if they rather talk to somebody instead of being automatic. So, and then, so also we're also going to have the resources in the database, and that is very important for us to have as many resources in our database available to be able to provide the referrals to these individuals that are trying to get the assistance to probably get out of human trafficking, or to find assistance for somebody that they know, or to find more information about human trafficking itself. So we need to maintain those resources, have the resources in our database. Any resources out there that maybe you know about, you can let us know so that we can add it onto our system, because then we can just provide the information to the people as they are needing it. And so that's basically our role, to be the providers of the information, the providers and disseminating the information and maintaining the information, just like we currently do, but in more detail about human trafficking.
And I want to add that, so when you text in, you're going to get a choice, right? You're going to get immediate text asking you first for your zip code, and so that we can acquire their zip code and county and figure out where they are texting from. And then they're going to be asked what path they want, what type of support they need. And they can choose general information, which is just be facts, information about the topic of human trafficking. Because a lot of people, I mean, you hear the term, but you don't necessarily know what's behind that term. And it's such a large encompassing term as well. It encompasses a lot of different types of crimes and human rights violations and need for different types of programs and assistance associated to those who are victims of human trafficking and all of its forms. And so we think that one of the key components of this project will be, yes, of course, connecting folks to information or connecting folks to help that's going to get them closer to becoming survivor rather than a victim. And then also, we feel like the ongoing support, so text every week or so for those who are reaching out on behalf of someone, but then also for those who are reaching out for themselves, because we don't know where they're going to be at the continuum of help seeking, right? That just like there's a precedent for this work, and that we're doing a project on to address the opioid crisis, and that project utilizes the same philosophy, that moment in time when somebody reaches out for help may be shifting, and it might go over extended period of time. And therefore, we need to stay connected with those individuals. The same is true here, that we might have somebody who suspects that there might be human trafficking happening, and then they might learn more about it a week from now, and then they're more inclined to get that help. But, oh no, I texted it 2 weeks ago, and now I don't remember what to do, or those kinds of things. Or more, perhaps most importantly, the person who reaches out on behalf of themselves, right? Who's seeking help, but just testing the waters to see what's there, not quite sure if they're ready. And then connecting with them periodically by sending a text, just letting them know about resources, showcasing support that is available to them, so that there's multiple touches, right? There's multiple texts that go out to that individual over the period of several weeks until they actually get the support they need, right? And they get patched into that support network. So we developed a text flow, which is this right here. It's the text flow human trafficking flowchart. And what it does is just lays out what options they're going to choose from. And then it takes you through each one of those options, and then what potentially they get after they text for each one of those different options. So have a look at this document. If you have feedback as an agency that's maybe receiving some of these referrals, you have some feedback about how information and the path that gets them to that. If there's verbiage that you feel needs to be wordsmithed, I mean, we want any feedback that you have. You guys are the specialists. You guys are the experts in this field. We want this to sound real. We want this to feel real. We want this to have the kind of language that is going to be understood and cut right to the chase, be, right there with the individual, getting them the help they need as quickly as possible. So have a look at the different options, and then you can go ahead and write directly into the document and send that back to the team. Any one of us, like I mentioned, Marioli Botero, her email is available. I'll send that around to anybody who participated in this group. After this session today, I'm going to send around, I'm just going to go ahead and send all these documents to all of the participants in today's meeting, just so that everybody has the full scope of documents that we have so far. We're also looking at utilizing a little follow-up survey that would ask them if they did get the help that they were seeking, right? So looking at the time frame of that, when best to do that. Is 7 days good, or should it be 14 days or longer, right? And so kind of thinking through all of the timing as well. have a look and see what you guys think. And then the idea that somebody would get help for themselves, of course, is probably the most important track. We recognize the fact that we might have people who are in an emergency situation, so we're going to be telling them to call 911 if that's in fact the case. We're also going to be providing them with information that all you need to do is text this word or this number, and you're going to get right through to a live person. So we'll always be supporting these individuals with live support if they require it. And so, are there any questions? Does anybody have any questions about what we've done so far? The project aims, the text flow chart. Have you had a chance to look over it? Have you had a chance to maybe comment to it? Now's the time. You're welcome to comment now, and we can answer questions. You can also send your questions afterwards. We'll, like I mentioned, I'm going to send around an email just confirming with all those who participated that thank you for participation, and then provide you with the documents that we've developed so far.
And I do have feedback from one of the agencies that wasn't able to participate in the call today. And sure. What they said was it's straightforward, it's very user-friendly. They also said that they think that maybe the person may or may not have access to the internet, and they were wondering if instead of using links, could the information be texted to them. The other question they had was about language barrier. They said that a lot of times the people that are being human trafficked, they may not speak English.
Okay.
English would be a second language for them. And could there be a note added to somewhere along the line that says that if they need an interpreter, they could get one? So that was the feedback that I got. Okay. And if anybody else has any feedback, please share it with us now so that we can start working on some of the feedback that you may have.
Now, with those resources, to answer that one first question, we are going to be sending out all referrals as addresses and phone numbers. Addresses and phone numbers, and so in addition to links to the resource, they will also have the actual address. So each one of the resources.
The agency.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So even if they have like an old phone, they're still going to see the resource as just the straight up address rather than just the link. Now, when you click the link, you're going to get more information. Of course, you're going to get the full scope of maybe service details, notes, things like that. But the actual resource itself, the address, the phone number, that's going to be in duplicate. And I guess you could say it's in duplicate in that if you can't click the link, you're still going to be able to read the address, and you're still going to be able to use the phone number.
Okay. So we'll let this person know.
This is Candace with the 211 down in Columbus. Just curious on, just looking on the, the option one, starting with the, in Atlanta, so many number of people are forced into some form of human trafficking every day. How are you going to take into account other parts of the state? Or would you use statewide statistics instead?
So like, let's say you text facts and statistics, then what we're going to do is, depending on where we roll it out, where our pilot area is Metro Atlanta. So as we roll it out, we're going to be expanding to other regions, right? And at that time, when somebody texts facts and statistics and they also indicate their zip code, we're going to be sending facts and statistics that are specific to that zip code. So that's why we're gathering that information up front, is because we want to know where they are, because it's important. We want to know where they are, but also it's going to be critical to resources being specific to where they're texting from. And so the pilot is Metro Atlanta, but this has aspirations to go larger scale and be rolled out in additional markets. And so we're always kind of keeping one eye towards that. And that's why you'll see in the way this is designed, it's meant for that purpose. And then we're going to utilize strategies that have already been used in deploying this type of project in other markets, right? The idea that we will bring together folks who are interested in expanding, having this service in their area, and then they're going to be involved with this in a way that, they're curating their resources, preparing them to be exported and then uploaded into the database. I mean, we're going to utilize some great strategies in order to spread this throughout the network. So yeah, your question's a great question. Metro Atlanta initially, and it'll be facts and statistics for that area. But as we go and roll out to new markets, of course, it's all going to be related to the area that they're texting from.
Cool.
And as a partner agency, one of the things you can do is start to look at, I can send you the taxonomy terms and codes and that Marioli has put together, wonderful. And we're going to be providing those as open source so that you can have a look at your database and see maybe where you've got resources that match those terms. And maybe if you don't, you can do a little preparation and try to get those resources sorted out.
This is Heather Stockdale with Georgia Cares. Oh, sorry.
Hi, Heather.
Sorry. So we at Georgia Cares, we manage the statewide hotline for all domestic minor sex trafficking victims and provide services to all those throughout the state of Georgia. So I guess kind of some of my questions and thoughts are around, of course, on the survivor side for our kids that are involved that might be texting. And so I think for me, I was just hoping to get maybe a little bit more. I see the texting kind of document that was sent out, but maybe a better understanding of what that would look like if you were speaking directly with a child victim who said that they wanted help if they were to talk to a live person, how that script might be a little bit different. Or
Sure.
Is it literally just texting out like, okay, you're a child and you want help, then contact Georgia Cares and here's their phone number and website?
No, that's a good point. So everybody is always a text away from live support, meaning that in the pilot project, Atlanta is going to provide the live support. So they're specialists who are trained in INR support. They're trained in even some providing people with direct service support or resource support for those who are actually in a situation where they're being maybe held against their will, or they're looking for to escape the perpetrator. So they're trained in those things, and that is going to be a text away, right? They're always going to be able to simply text the keyword or their zip code to just right after they answer this, choose that first path. They're going to be notified as an automated message back that all you have to do is text this to then get an agent. And then that conversation is going to be live with the agent and the individual. So each one of the paths is going to have that option. So while it is automated in the sense of we're creating a structure, a way by which people can get information, get help in a fully automated way, we're also providing the safety net of live support, which is always going to be a text away. Your question, what kind of scripting would be associated to that? Let me talk to Marioli about that, because I think what we would do is, at that point, we're going to patch the text into their live queue, and they're going to see it. They're going to see that it's a text related to this project, and they're going to provide live support to that person. What they do at that point, that's something that I'm going to have to speak to Marioli about, because we're not considering that part in this project. That's all the way up to that part. But actually having that dialogue, the two-way conversation back and forth, you're right. That's sensitive. It's important. And it's something that I think we need to all provide feedback around. And if you have experience with that, if you have knowledge or insight about that, helping people maybe identifying triggers or things that might set the person off, or being sensitive to the type of situation they're in, that maybe they are concerned about the text on their phone, all those things. If you have insights about that, then please provide feedback along those lines. If it's not something that's covered in the flow chart, if it's something down the line where, like you're saying, that live help piece, if you have recommendations about that or insights about that, please feel free to reach back to Marioli or myself, and we're happy to hear about that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. I think kind of some of my comment then in response is just that, I don't know, are you guys familiar with kind of the Polaris project that they rolled out with texting and the Be Free text and all of that?
So this isn't going to be in lieu of or in place of or anything like that. This is all just simply an attempt to provide information that Atlanta feels like their community is lacking in. So Atlanta came to us and said, hey, we feel like this is an issue that's of great concern. It's growing. It's not getting smaller. And there's a lot of people who need information along the spectrum. So there's all kinds of different ways to provide support and information related to this topic. And that's what this project undertakes, is to be across that issue, not just a call for help, not just a text hotline or helpline, but a resource, an information resource. And so there is, I guess, interest in understanding what is available, but this project doesn't have any notion to replace, or it simply augments what's available currently. Did you want to speak about that project?
Yeah, I haven't been involved, obviously, since the beginning of this project. I just got an invite to be on the call and saw some of the documents that United Way 211 sent out. So I apologize. I don't have the full scope of the project or, original intentions. So that wasn't meant to be. I hope that my comment wasn't taken in a negative way. I'm just trying to get up to speed kind of with the existing hotlines in the state, for on our side for children, then there's one for adults, kind of how we could all, and then of course there's Polaris, which is a national hotline. So how we were all going to work together to kind of make sure that victims were being served, and that we were doing that in a way that was more efficient and cut down barriers instead of duplicating each other. So that's my biggest concern. But I think, like I said, I don't have a really thorough, background and understanding of the purpose and how this project started. So I mean that in no way as a demeaning way. I'm just brainstorming how we can all work together.
I don't know anything about that. And if you want to provide information about that, that would be great. As a consumer, I want variety, and I want plenty of options, right? And so this offers that. This project will offer variety. It will extend what is available for people. It will make resources more available. It will make resources more mobile. It will establish a way to quickly get at information that's most convenient for the end user, and hopefully encourages more folks to learn about the topic, but also reach out and get help about the topic. So that's the idea behind the project, and I think there's wonderful programs and services. In fact, the last session that we had, I'll send you a recording of it. It was some of the local agencies in the Metro Atlanta area provided some feedback about the type of services, their day-to-day operations, the type of people that they're helping, and how they get referrals from 211 is super enlightening. It allowed us to sort of get that perspective of boots on the ground, the people who are actually serving the individuals that are in need of this support. And so we're getting feedback from those agencies in order to develop a more thoughtful and conscientious project. This isn't just about being nifty or using technology in a creative new way. This is about addressing a major significant issue in the Metro Atlanta area and potentially in other areas as well. Any other questions? Marielle, did you have anything to add?
Oh, I don't have anything else to add, but I just want to say again, like you said, any feedback that anybody has, please email it to us.
Yep.
You can email it to me. My email address, you got it with the email that I sent, with the email invitation that I sent you all. And we are also looking to come up with the keyword, the proper keyword to be able to use with this project. So if you have any ideas about the keyword that you think would be something quick and easy to be able to text, then please let us know that too.
Yeah, anything at all. And the scripting, everything. I mean, we really just want your feedback. And we feel like this is the best time, because as soon as we start to build this and get this going, yes, we can make adjustments, but it's a heck of a lot easier to make adjustments now. Okay. Well, I'm going to say that we're going to call this session, and unless anyone has anything to add. Okay. Marioli, thank you for joining us today, and I'll give you a call after this session, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, John.
Are you going to be around?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, thank you. Oh,
thank
good.
you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.